I want to introduce you to our new pups. We have Oliver and Heidi. And this is a follow-up to the tribute that we gave to our beloved dog Murphy that we had to let go. He suffered from degenerative myelopathy. And it's a horrible disease. And the more that I've learned about it, the more it just disgusts me. And I know many of you out there have dealt with that. And it was a hard way to make a long, slow goodbye. But I did say in the video when I made a tribute to him that we did have a new one coming, and that would be Mr. Oliver. So let me tell you the story about how things work, because sometimes life is stranger than fiction. So after Murphy passed, I had talked to my wife and had searched my soul, and I knew that somewhere deep inside I still had a desire to have a dog in our life. And even though we terribly missed Murphy and miss him now, I knew I could never replace him, but there was still that Murphy-shaped hole in my heart. So Golden Retrievers are amazing dogs, and Murphy was our second Golden Retriever. And the first Golden Retriever we had was a rescue, and that's another story for another time. But she was adorable, wonderful, an absolutely wonderful dog, an incredible companion. Anyway, I went looking locally to see who might have any dogs available for sale, and it was late enough in the spring when Murphy had passed and we did this that most of the breeders had already had their litters and they'd already sold them. And so we struck out. Murphy was part of a cancer study, which he didn't die of cancer, but we did have him in a lifelong cancer study. And that had a Facebook group. And my wife thought it would be a good idea to go out there and post for anyone who might know a breeder that would be able to help us find a pup. And we did, and we did. And we had a contact from a breeder, and it was fascinating because she had just returned a deposit to somebody for little Oliver here, and already had him, and he was coming up on his 8 weeks and getting ready to to be able to adopt him out to his forever home. So we went through that process, and anyone out there that's ever purchased a dog through a proper breeder, we had to have background checks, references. She needed to see our home. I wanted to see her home, and I wanted to see what kind of life that the dogs would be coming from. And we made our deposit. She accepted everything, and we were on track to pick Mr. Oliver up for the Memorial Day weekend. In Minnesota, it was a 6-hour drive each way. So spent the night, got to meet the breeder, Jordan. She's incredible. What an incredible woman with an incredible heart for dogs and Goldens. So she put us together with Mr. Oliver here, and he is a riot. Well, how did Heidi get here? What's going on with this? Well, we got a phone call from one of the breeders that I had contacted locally, who told me that she had adopted out, or she had sold out Heidi, and Heidi went to a home with some elderly people, and the wife was having a problem, and they couldn't take care of her. So the man had asked if she would help rehome her. When she first contacted me, I said, no, we've already got a dog. And I knew that my wife would probably say no anyway, because we talked about in the past getting a couple Goldens at the same time, and she had said no because anyone that has a Golden knows they shed like crazy. So I told her no. Well, my wife got home, and I told her about the phone call, and she said, you told her yes, didn't you? I said, no, I didn't. And I'm a good husband, and I'm a good learning robot, and I know that we already talked about this, and there was not going to be 2 Golden Retrievers. So she said, go back inside right now and call her. So I did. And this breeder is just north of us, about an hour. So called her and talked and went over everything. And we talked about the fact that we already had this guy and how this might all work together. And we thought it would be a good fit, so we went ahead and we did it. So we picked up Mr. Oliver on Memorial Day weekend, that Sunday, and immediately after that, everything went down with Heidi. So we went from one lovely, amazing golden Mr. Murphy to two. So right now, as of this video, she is 6 months and he's 5 months. And we have the type of AKC papers that they have is that they're not to be bred. We have no interest in breeding these guys. So they will continue to be brother and sister here in spirit, maybe not organically, not biologically, but we have had our hands full, and anyone that's had a puppy knows what puppies are like to begin with. And when you have two at one time, and a lot of people that we've talked to have said that it probably just makes sense when you have two at one time that you get it all over with at one shot. So Heidi has her own distinct personality, and she does her Heidi things, and Oliver has his own personality. And they're just now kind of coming up to that point in age where we're starting to see that they're moving on from just being puppies to being dogs. So we'll have some updates from time to time, and I still miss my Murphy so much. And nothing, not even two dogs ever replaced Murphy. And maybe something I did or didn't mention before, both my wife and I, as kids before we knew each other, both of us have always had dogs. We've always had pets in the house. And so when we lost Murphy, it was so strange not having a dog around. So the house is full, twice as full as we expected it. And these guys have been an absolute blast. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for you guys that reached out to me when we lost Murphy and showed us so much love. We really, really appreciate that. The Moores Foundation that Murphy was part of, they actually had some grief people available, and they have sent us some wonderful things in the mail to remember him by. And so it's been a journey. It's been a long road, and now it's starting again. And we have an update. Right now we're in Central Illinois, and I just recently got a job offer in Alaska. And so our Goldens are going to be going with us to Alaska. So that'll be a whole new adventure. And I'm sure we'll find some things to share with you on that. So thank you for tuning in.